Excellent. Right, okay, let's make sure everything's going there. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of this RGM Experience podcast. And our guests today are Chris and Lawrence from Sheafs. Hey up, lads.
How's
Hello.
it going? All right, Carl?
Yeah, thanks for joining us today, lads. It's been a while since I've seen your little faces. With the industry going to shit and all that kind of stuff over the last couple of years, but it's nice to see you both. And Chris's new look, we've just been discussing it before the call, haven't we? It's rather splendid beard there that he's supporting.
Yeah, it's been my favourite pastime over the last 18 months, trying to grow this out. But got there in the end, Carl. So thank you.
Do you use beard theorems? Do you like put products in it?
Put stuff on it. Yeah, every now and then. If I'm feeling
embrace it. It's great.
If it's a Friday night, mate, maybe I'll kind of dust it off with something. It'll be all right.
Very nice. Very nice.
Is it one of them where the your special conditioner slowly falls down into the, into the jaw?
It's a whole process that I don't really want to get into right now. But yeah,
it's not getting fair enough. We'll leave that there. We'll leave it to the imagination. But it looks splendid. Lawrence has got you've got a new look as well. All the hair's gone.
Yeah, I just fancied a bit of a change, really. I've always wanted to do it, and I just thought, why not? Just see how it is. It's quite funny, actually, when I went in to get it cut, the guy was cutting it kind of like, I said that I wanted to buzz it, and he kind of hesitated and then looked at me and went, hang on a second, kind of did a full peripheral around.
Okay.
I went, I think you'll be okay. And then, and then he just kind of went in for it. So, yeah. Carl, just wanted to mention I know this microphone thing again. Yeah. It's that sensitive. I wonder if it's picking up you guys when you speak because it's just coming out my.
It's coming fine here, mate. We'll crack on. It's all good.
All right.
All good, cool. Mate. I'll let you know if there's any problems, mate. It's all good.
All right.
So I wanted to start off just congratulating you on the Tramlines spot. I know you did have the main stage book before the pandemic and everything, didn't you? And then the Tramlines have just announced that you're playing the big main stage on a Saturday at Tramlines. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know what stage it's on yet.
On the poster, it looks like it's the main one.
I think we're doing the second stage. We're going to be doing the second stage.
Okay. Right. Okay.
But we're like over the moon with that slot. To be fair, it's going to be. I think it's like Saturday. Yeah, it's the Saturday. So I can't remember last time we played Tramlines on the Saturday. So yeah. Come next year, July, feels a long way away, but I think when that time comes around, we'll be absolutely buzzing for it. So thank you to Tramlines for having us on again.
Yeah, well, I suppose playing the main stage that early in the day, because you'll probably be on first or second, won't you? If if it was the main stage, there probably won't be as many people there as there would be in the tent. So it's probably a good thing. You're going to play to you.
You've nailed that, Carl. For me personally, we've had the fortune of playing a few tents before, and there's something about a tent that I really, really like. Arguably more so than it certainly brings something different than like an open crowd or an outdoor crowd. But I think it probably suit the vibe of our music a lot better now, with that darkness kind of sound to it. So yeah, can't wait for that.
How are you gonna surf the crowd when there's a big barrier in the way and security guards and that kind of stuff? How are you gonna get amongst it, Lauren? or don't say, and then you'll just surprise me when it happens.
I'll have to do what the hairdresser did and take a full peripheral.
Okay. For me, that's an iconic vision of Sheafs. You in the crowd, literally stood on top of everybody with your arms about like Randy Orton, loving it, and just it's quite an iconic pose, and that's kind of a vision I have of Sheafs, is you up there.
Yeah. It's a weird one. I think especially with the new music, it's kind of I don't know, maybe because the opportunity hasn't presented itself, but it's a lot. I guess it's harder for me to picture that. I don't know, I don't know, because it kind of matched the old style that we were playing to, and the kind of roughness to it, where I don't know if this music's a little bit more on the back foot, where you kind of more sitting and kind of taking it in a bit more, which is something I think we've needed for a while. But I say that all composed now.
Why do you feel like you've needed to do that?
I think maybe a personal critique of of our band is the fact that when we've been out and playing before, we've always had that kind of, I don't know, seven song set of like of quite rough and ready music, and there isn't kind of an off switch, which sometimes stops you from appreciating those highs. If it's like constantly turned up to 11, it's difficult to kind of appreciate in a way. I don't know. It's kind of.
I think when I've watched a lot of live bands, and I think it is nice to have a bit of shade and a bit of colour to a set, rather than just have 7 massive loud songs.
Definitely.
Have something a little bit different in between it to offer something a little bit different as well.
Yeah, definitely. And like I've personally done like a lot of work with how I've been singing and how I've been kind of working with my voice to try and, you know, tap into areas that I haven't really explored before. But that gives it dynamic, and it gives the set dynamic, which is something that I think we've been missing for a long time. I'm sure Chris agrees, where hopefully now it's a little bit more well-rounded. So when it is a bit of a higher up-tempo song, because we don't want to lose that, it is more appreciated, and it does have its own kind of moment a bit more than having 7 songs which do the same thing effectively.
Yeah, have you felt about the change, Chris?
Yeah, it's been really positive. I think everything Lawrence said is correct. I think personally, I was just looking for us to feel like we were delivering more of like a professional performance when we play live. And sometimes we did all those like small shows for a couple of years, and they all were really rough and ready, and we've kind of done that dingy, sweaty, and that is great, and we still do love that. But like Lawrence says, now if we have a song like that that's going to tick that box, it's going to be nice for it to have its own little moment to do that. So we have tried to explore some composure and like different styles of songs that come together as a collective, not just like 7 songs that are trying to, like Lawrence says, achieve the same thing, which is just like getting the crowd moving. Yeah. So it's been nice. It's been a good road of discovery between the 5 of us, and I think we've all kind of learned something from it for ourselves and for the band collectively. So, and
the other guys in the band, what kind of thoughts and feelings have they brought out, or you know, around this new, the new Sheafs?
I think anytime that's the beauty of being in a band, I guess, is that everyone brings their own sort of flavor or ingredient to the song. So, you know, each of them have their own kind of unique style of playing and also kind of own background of sound that they kind of want to push. And we felt like it all came together really, really well. So, you know, be it down to like guitar tones, or maybe like how Charlie might play the drums and Cal play his bass. It all merged really nicely into one. So I think I'm pretty sure they feel the same way.
Yeah.
And it has been a welcome change, really. And like Chris said, it feels a lot more professional. It feels like, it feels very like substantial, almost quite, I don't know, like you want to sit back and listen to it at times, and then at other times I think you want to go and grit your teeth and be a bit more lively. So it's got a real nice balance, I think, at the moment.
But when I reflect on like seeing Sheafs appear within the industry in Sheffield, was just how professional you both are. Because I think it was with you, Chris, who I was speaking to originally. When we were, I don't know how long it were ago, probably 4 or 5 years. How long have Sheafs been alive?
Yeah.
It's around that time, mate, to be fair.
Yeah. So about 4 or 5 years ago, when you entered the stage, you knew what you wanted straight away, and that was obvious as somebody trying to book young bands and that kind of stuff. And I know you had a vision for the band. It felt like you did anyway. You had a vision for the band before you started, you know, booking gigs and playing the smaller venues that I was promoting at the time and that kind of stuff, like the Washingtons, the Frog and Poets, that kind of stuff. You kind of saw yourself as, you know, holding back a little bit and making more, making a judgment call on whether that's right for you at that particular time and that particular venue. Is that a fair analysis of, you know, me thinking about you 5 years ago?
I think every step of the way, Carl, we've tried to do what we think is the right thing, and we've always thought about it a lot. Like, we as a 5-piece, we all think about this band like a lot. And for a long period of time when the band were around, me, Lawrence and Charles lived together as well. So whenever we'd see each other, we'd kind of live and breathe the band. And every decision we wanted to make goes through 5 people. Yeah. We're all discussing it. So it's all very well thought out. And we've always tried to strive for the next thing. And there's moments along the way where, you know, things might happen and you go like, oh, wow, this feels exciting. This could be the next step. And then you're brought back down to reality quite harshly. So I feel like it's been a long road of grounding ourselves, which comes back to that decision-making process where we think about everything again tenfold as we go forward. So even from the start, like, me and Lawrence were trying to write songs before the band were even a thing. And we wanted to come back to Sheffield. I wasn't in Sheffield at the time. But we spent a good half a year trying to just get like some songs together so we could come back to Sheffield, form this band, and like kind of have some songs to show and go book some gigs. So it's always been preparing. We've always tried to move on, and we've always tried to be open to the fact that we might have to change as well along the way, like during the process. I think there's been a few times where we've turned little corners and felt like they've been important steps, and now we've done like a big turn and we've kind of got to where we want to be in terms of the sound and things like that. So I think it is accurate what you say. Like, we have always been like methodological almost in what we do.
Yeah, there's definitely something for bands to learn from. Just, you know, not accepting everything, and, you know, thinking about things a little bit more. Consider more what you're going to get out from whatever promoter's offering you, whatever they're offering you. I think is really valuable, particularly right at the beginning of your career when you're green and you don't know what. You just see a stage and you just want to play to your mates and just crack on type thing. But, you know, there seems to be this professional vibe about you guys that stands out, and did stand out then and does now, really.
Oh, thank you. That's nice of you to say. I wonder if, I think from the very start, when Chris and I were talking in the very, very early days before we even had anyone else, and I think, well, it was Chris, Charles and I, but I think there was never a point where we were going to try and do it for fun. And I remember that conversation quite early on. When I say for fun, I mean more so, you know, just casually.
Yeah.
I think we always had our eyes kind of on actually trying to do it for real. And I wonder if that kind of reflects in it a little bit. But like Chris says, we've been on a journey with it the whole time. And I think it doesn't help from the fact that a lot of us got into music very early on. Like, I only got a guitar when I was 17. Like, I'm not from a musical background, and nor is like the majority of the band, I don't think. Yeah. We just kind of had to find our way. So a lot of it was making those mistakes that maybe a lot of bands make earlier on in those stages where, you know, they're playing guitars from when they're young, like early teens and stuff, and kind of finding their way. Where it felt like we took the long way around, because, and we always say this, no matter how much you think you know about music and you think you know what is good and what is bad, until you get there and try and do it yourself, it's almost like it's impossible. It's impossible to kind of learn from the outside. Like, you have to make those mistakes yourself and learn from them. And I think that process did kind of dominate like the earlier stages of the band. And we're finally at a point now where, maturity wise, I think we're quite confident in the fact that we can write songs and we know what we want it to sound like a bit more. And that was something that lockdown really gave us an opportunity to do, to kind of, rather than write like one song or two songs, we had the chance to kind of start creating like a good quantity of them. So we had like an idea of what we wanted them to sound like, as like a more of a body of work, I guess, which also helped kind of really define what we were feeling at the same time. So Yeah, it's just been a massive learning curve, and I'm sure it will continue to be so.
Yeah,
But
I think when I were in a band 20 years ago when we started, we used to play Sheffield like Monday, Thursday, Sunday. I used to play like 3 times a week.
Yeah,
So good. I've dropped all the bollocks that bands can do, and I just like, experiencing what it's like these days. And you quickly developed into headlining your own gigs, which were great to see. How was it? What was the biggest challenge of progressing as a band? So when you started moving to headlining your own shows, talk us through the transition within you as individuals as you progressed to headlining shows and having to choose your own supports, choosing cities out of town to play, all that kind of stuff. We'll start with picking supports.
It's always been, I think, because of the time that we started the band, we kind of started the band when me, Lawrence and Charles were in our final year of uni. So when you say quickly going on to like headline shows, especially in like Sheffield, we didn't have that kind of, when bands like to dominate their hometowns as such, and they try and really build because none of us are actually from Sheffield. And a lot of our mates basically fled Sheffield after that first year of being in the band. So we had this kind of like year of, those fun small gigs where it gets sweaty and packed out. And then we were fortunate to do a lot of stuff with This Feeling, and they took us outside of Sheffield. Picking supports was never really felt like a strange thing. I think we never really thought about headline shows. I think with headline shows, you're just constantly thinking about tickets. I think that's what happens when you play like as a support yourself. The kind of pressure's kind of taken off you a little bit because you're kind of there and you're supporting somebody else. But the headline show transition, I think we just naturally fled into it. I think we were excited. I think we were like really looking to take that step up. And playing different cities that's like a big part of this band. Like we want to take the music wherever we can go. It's not like a case of, we just want to dominate like one town, or we want to just stay in England or whatever. We want to try and take it as far as possible. And we've had the luxury of doing that a little bit, but it's definitely somewhere we want to explore it.
I think it's a little bit of a mistake trying to dominate your own town. You're presuming that your fan base is within a few miles radius around where you are in the country at that time. And I think that's quite small-minded in a little way, and not, if you're going to grow a band, you've got to get out there and you've got to find your audience. And when I was on a previous podcast, I've quoted this loads of times, but I was speaking to Martin Atkins, who used to drum for Pill. And he's based in Chicago now, and he says, there's no guarantee that your audience is even in the same country as where you are. And that's kind of stuck with me all the time. And that's the reason why I say, bands looking to dominate your own city, fair enough, you might be able to get people down, but you're probably getting a lot of your family and friends down. You're not really growing your fan base. You just, you are in a way, but you're not. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but there's other ways to do it. And I think dominating or wanting to dominate your own city is kind of small-minded a little bit. And there's better ways to do it.
I mean, in those early stages as well, we were so like buzzed to kind of play different places, and we kept getting opportunities. Like This Feeling gave us so many opportunities to kind of really spread our like music, nationally almost. And they backed us so well, and that's something that we're so thankful for. But the problem is especially when you don't know the ropes of it, is like when you start playing all these different places and you suddenly feel like you're really busy, you feel like you're doing it, but then you also forget the key point of making sure that you're writing as well, and you've got the music going as well. And that's something that was one of our biggest not mistakes, I guess, but it's one of the things that we learned from pretty quick, is the fact that, the live side's massive, so important for our band. But we also have to make sure that we've got the songs as well to try and push that live show. And it's easy to kind of go one way or the other sometimes, especially when you are busy and you are playing gigs, to find the time then to get in the right mindset to write new songs for the next phase, that becomes difficult.
I suppose it helped you all being from different places. So when you were playing a different place in your own personal hometowns,
yeah,
you got a bit of an in there to get a few people down at least to start the process of getting your name out in different places. Am I right? Am I wrong? You tell me, guys.
It's hard to say with that. I think it's I think ultimately, you can kind of pull all your mates and stuff down to a gig, but essentially if you don't have that the product, or you don't have the song that people want to listen to, then I don't know if it's beneficial anyway. So if you don't have that, that ultimately the music has to be good. And if the music's good, then everything else should kind of fall into place, I think. I don't know, Chris, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you're right. I think I still remember now. I think it's to date, it was our biggest headline tour that we've ever done, Carl. So I think it's like 16 dates. It was the first time we had an agent, and we went to quite a few places across the country in Scotland and things. And we had the mindset that we were like, we're not even going to release a song. So we were going to get we had this mindset. We were like, we're just going to smash this tour out. Yeah. We're not even going to release a song, and it's going to be great like this. And I still remember that so fondly, because almost the confidence that we had in ourselves to go out and play those shows. And it was a pretty good tour, to be fair, at the time. But to not even consider the idea of we should probably bring out a song. Actually, I remember someone saying that to us. I think our agent at the time said something a couple of weeks before, going oh, just to check, you're not releasing anything off before you go out. And we were like, no, I'm not going to release anything.
It was 2 weeks before, and it was no, I think we'll be fine. And then went on, and yeah.
So going back to what you're saying, Carl, about having people in different cities. Yeah, like Lawrence says, it's nice. It's actually quite a nice way for us to catch up with friends. I know it sounds daft. You can go across. We have uni friends that are kind of scattered about the country, and it's been nice to kind of pop up and see those people. But like Lawrence says, if you don't have that product, that song that people are going to come to your show to see, it's kind of not irrelevant, but that's the winning formula. And along the way, we have forgot that sometimes. So
I think what I'm seeing you guys out and about as well, particularly the relationship that bands have that go on the road with this feeling. For example, I think it was the last time I've seen you in face to face. The Assist were playing O2 Academy, and you guys were all there. I don't know if I'm going back 20 years or 2 years here. I've lost the.
Was that with the Twang? Were they playing the Twang?
Yeah, on the Twang tour thing. Yeah, there's one. Yeah. It wasn't specifically a This Feeling gig.
No.
The relationship that you've had, because they were a This Feeling band as well, and you all seem to have such great relationships.
They are top lads. They've got a new album coming out soon, I think.
New single out today as well. Yeah.
Oh, sick, nice. Yeah, top lads.
I'll always remember me and Lawrence did this DJ set thing at Cafe Totem back in the day, and the Assist lads, I'm pretty sure they'd just been in a Kasabian video. It was a Kasabian video they brought ages ago, and then me and Lawrence put the song on, and then they just came out of Cafe Totem stairs and just absolutely loving it. They are there for the moment, and fair play to them. But yeah, great lads.
Yeah, no, I just love that relationship, and it's not just you and there just seems to be online. There's a lot of love about between the bands that within the zone. There's this feeling place. I like seeing that online. I don't know why I brought it up. It just
no, I do as well. I think it was I remember so clearly. There was such a when we were kind of in the middle of it all. There was so many top bands coming through there. You had Strange Bones, Calva Louise were coming through, the Blinders were coming through, and there was almost there felt like a real. I remember that really vividly, almost it's something almost tangible. It was class, and everyone was just having the best time. It was sick.
I can remember sneaking backstage and being at, I think it was Why Not? I think it was This Feeling stage. And yeah, you like to, a lot of Red Stripe were drunk and it was just party time. And, just thinking back to those stages, but, and we were in a tent, you mentioned, you like being in a tent. There's something magical about a tent in a festival environment.
Yeah, 100%.
You just can't let leave your soul, can you?
Yeah, and you walk out and then it's still bright and you're like, oh.
I think I remember Carl at that Why Not, to be fair.
Oh shit. We're on a stag do, that's my excuse.
You're having a good time, mate. Don't worry. Having a good time.
Good.
That's what it's about as well. Yeah. I mean, like, just on that note, like seeing all the bands, but also seeing everyone like yourself, Carl, who like grinds it out in order to give all the other bands a platform. Like, my hat goes off to you, our hat goes off to you massively, where you've got all those people just there because they just love it, like, and starting from like the top with like Mikey Johns, and then you've got people like Alan Wells and Kathy, and you could just literally just continue to list them off, like, and everyone was there for the same reason, because they just like love music, and that's what it's about.
So you brought a new single out in August, Spectator. I've had it on loop over the last couple of days because I know I was speaking to you. It's definitely a different direction, isn't it? I'm living in Manchester now, lads, and I'm getting a Joy Division feel from it, and particularly with the tone of the vocals as well, Lawrence. There is a notable difference in the style of the new music. I don't like labeling bands and saying Joy Division and all that kind of stuff, because it is an easy thing to do, but there is a real vibe there, or it feels like it is.
Yeah. It was, again, I think a lot of that came from lockdown, I guess. Like, we had a big opportunity to kind of delve into older music, and Chris, and Charles were all living together, and we kind of almost like fell into this routine of doing things where a key part of that was where we just literally go back and listen to like a band that we just wanted to kind of, I don't know, understand more and delve into. So we kind of went through all the years, and we kind of landed at like the late 70s, early 80s, that kind of thing. And that seemed to, I think, almost simultaneously, like, we all just connected to it. And there's something about that era. And it's not just like Joy Division as well. There are other bands like, all those kind of like dark gothic-y kind of feel, like the Bauhauses and even Echo and the Bunnymen, that kind of thing. They all kind of appeal to us. Like, The Cure is another really big one for us. But we kind of took that away and wanted to, I think, almost unintentionally try and kind of channel that in a sense. And we were just so pleased with how it came out, because it felt really original at the same time, but it also kind of suited that dark style that we really wanted to kind of convey. Yeah. But no, Joy Division's definitely.
Is that a fair comparison? Would you agree with that? Fair enough.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely so.
It's always an interesting one, because obviously it's like I'm used to hearing Lawrence's voice, and it's hard to. I don't know, when we're in the thick of it. He was
smirking when he was saying that, Lawrence. He was smirking when he was saying it.
I know. Well, I was just thinking to myself, how lucky is he?
Yeah. But yeah, like Lawrence says, like, I think you said this earlier on, but you can never, like, almost analyzing your own music is the impossible task. Like, when me and Lawrence were in the thick of it, like writing it, and then you're trying to like reflect on it after, you don't even know what you think of it. Like, by the end of it, you're just like, so when you say things like that, and we had some reviews about that track when it came out that were down a similar vein, like, obviously we welcome it. That's such a nice thing to hear. But like Lawrence says, we do feel like there was some originality to it in there, which was nice as well. Yeah. So we were really proud of that one. It felt like a good,
it still feels like a Sheafs song. It's completely. Yeah, this is not a protest. You can still tell it's Sheafs.
Yeah, that's important to us as well. I think it's important to kind of keep that. Again, it's that learning curve, where like you kind of fall into that boat. I mean, we've done it firsthand. I mean, I think when we first started, we were like an Arctic Monkeys cover band essentially for a good amount of time. And then we soon realized that and tried to change and put our own spin on it. So it's exactly the same thing, but it certainly wasn't like it wasn't kind of like we were fixed on one thing. That's just how it came out. So.
Mm-hmm.
So are the props going now then? Is the new live show, is that different now? Because you had your banners and the televisions and that kind of stuff in the past. Is that all gone now? Have you moved on from that, or you still, or what? I don't know. You played London recently, didn't you? What happened there? And talk us through the new like live Sheafs experience.
Well, essentially, we're all wearing makeup and we're going to start gelling our hair up.
Yes.
Bar Laura hasn't got any left. He hasn't got any left.
Can't take the eyeliner pen out of Charles's hand at the moment.
Basically, we're all wearing black, all in makeup. We're all wearing capes as well.
Nice.
So that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, the capes are good.
I like the tellies. They were different. I like that.
Yeah, no, to be fair, I remember when we bought those. I think we still got them around in the rehearsal room. I think they're still on their last legs, but
it was
at the time
it was iconic to see, particularly the protest banners, because they became their own thing, and they made you stand out from other bands at the time. I thought it was great.
Yeah, definitely. Again, 100%. I think that was a real novelty of it, because everyone knew that song, and it certainly was like. Yeah,
the crowd wanted to hold it because they knew there might be a Sheafs picture. It became a thing, didn't it? Yeah,
it did become a thing. Yeah, 100%.
Are you looking for new things? Yeah,
no, I don't know. We haven't really given it a good think. I think.
Okay. Watch this space.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Does that do you look back on that fondly, or is it something that you want to change?
I don't think we ever I definitely don't regret anything that we've done in the past. That era of those kind of songs was just something that pigeonhole, like it felt really, I don't know, it was such a nice way to kind of remember those. I sound like old now, but those years when where we went out and and had it, and we were just out of uni and still like loving it and going out and everything. Where I don't know if we were playing those songs now, I don't know if it would be really reflective of how we feel now. It's almost, it wouldn't. I think we started to feel that towards the end of it as well.
Yeah.
For me, it reminds me of our house that we lived in, Loro. Like that house opposite Bramall Lane.
Yeah, with the garage
and we were spray painting all the signs, and we lived in this house for 2 years, Carl. So literally directly opposite Bramall Lane Stadium, and it would feel like every weekend we'd be off somewhere. Like the van would be parked outside that house, and it'd just be like, right, the weekends roll around, we're off, and like we'd just be in that van, going places. And that's why we look back on it fondly, I think, because it represents that time where we got to see a lot of places and we got to go have a lot of fun, basically. So very vivid, that for me, living in that house and just carrying those TVs out and the signs and all that kind of stuff. But yeah.
What's coming up for Sheafs then? Is there anything you can share with us that, part of it now? We've discussed Tramlines. Is there anything that you're allowed to discuss at the minute, or you're keeping us waiting, which is fine by me too? I get it.
I know it's so cliche, isn't it? But I think we're going to keep you in suspense a bit longer.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
we'll kind of we've got some exciting things lined up for next year. So
plenty of announcements coming up.
Yeah, that whole social media game.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bugbear that would be at mine, but I'm just put let's announce an announcement at 6 o'clock. And then it's a band announcing something. It's going to be a single or a tour, isn't it? Let's you know what I mean? That's a little bugbear. It is what it is. Lads, Chris, Lawrence, really appreciate you joining me today for this podcast. Is there anything else you want to share with the fans, just before we leave it today, and I'll let you get on with your lives, and I'll just leave the last word with you guys, really.
maybe just saying like thanks for sticking with us through all this like quiet time, and we weren't a band who did like any kind of like, you know, like you know how through lockdown there was kind of those like you know, what's it called, those sessions where everyone did that, like played their own thing. We didn't do any of that, and just I guess thanks for
sticking with us
and being patient, basically.
Zoom's gonna kick me out in 20 seconds, lads, just so you know. So if it does stop, that's Zoom shouting us. Do you want to quickly add something, Chris, and squeeze it in?
Just thank you to you, Carl, mate. You've been there for a long time, so thank you very much, mate.
Nice one, Carl.
Did it for the love of it, lads. Really appreciate your time, and thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you live very soon in Sheffield.
Legend, mate.
Cheers, guys. Really appreciate it.
See you later, mate. Bye-bye.